Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm gonna say hi to Michael, Andrew. Good to see you here, friendly girl, John as well, and Kate Demore. There's something about that surname. I just love it. It just has this kind of I can't explain it. It's just like when you walk into a room and go, "Hey, who are you?" And you go, "Hey, I'm Kate Demore." I don't know what it is. It's almost like if you were to take Demi Moore and shrink the name, you'd get Demore in a way. I don't know if that's what it is about me psychologically, something like that. Anyway, hope you're all doing okay. Hey, Sinan, Suburban Philosophy, Jonathan, how are you all doing? Today is a really, really big day. What do you think is the reason for today being a big day? What do you think's happened? What do you think's happened? Go on, make or take your guesses. What do you think's happened today? Big day, right? November the 1st. What has happened today? Okay, I'll tell you. Basically, the price of the Elemental web. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put on my watch while talking, and I'm looking at myself in the camera while I'm putting on my watch, which is a bit stupid. Um, the Elemental website course price has now gone up. So it's now gone from $97 to $127. It was always going to happen, okay? If you're in Europe or the UK, I think it's gone from 87 to 1 something something. If you're in Africa or Asian countries or the continent, the price has gone up a little bit more as well. But it's not so much, but in Europe and US and all that, the price has gone up. I did say it was going to go up, and I wasn't lying. Someone did contact me last night and said, will I be doing a Black Friday deal or a Cyber Monday deal on the course? And I really, really should do that. What I explained to them is that I've made clear I'm not going to do that. And if I was to suddenly go back on my word, if I've said to everyone here there is no Black Friday deal or Cyber Monday deal or Christmas Day deal or anything on the Elemental website course, and then people go and sign up, and then on Black Friday I go, hey, guess what, there's a 50% discount. A lot of you have every right to be a bit like, well, hold on, you said there wasn't. Now, other courses that me or other people do, prices can go up and down. You do a deal, you do a coupon, whatever. That's kind of the norm. But if anyone ever says we're not going to do that, there is never going to be a Black Friday deal on this course, and then you go and do it, if that was me, I'd be pretty annoyed. Right, Squishy Boo has got a question over here. Um, I want to get data from an endpoint as a JSON. Okay, I want to display on WordPress how to handle it because I'm okay, right, okay, look. So obviously you're going to have a mechanism to pull that data to then present it. It's a bit like database tables. So if you've got a database, if you're pretty good with MySQL, and there will be some plugins out there, though I'm not too sure what is the best plugin to use here. I wouldn't say you might want to work with a coder, but if they're very good with MySQL and PHP, then they may be able to pull it through. That being said, it is very much dependent on where is that data stored, and you might need to then do a bit of query analyzer, or well, in my day with the NHS, we used SQL Management Studio, T-SQL, and all of that. So I think and also you got to be careful what you pull through as well. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like you're going to have to work with a coder, right? I want to talk about scheduling today. And by the way, if anyone does want to jump along, you can do. I'll just pop the link down here. You can join in the conversation if you are willing. Let me know what you do on a daily basis when it comes to scheduling. What do you do? So every day you're going to go, right, what tasks am I working on today? But is that as far as your scheduling for the day goes? I'm going to tell you what I do. Every day I kind of like put down, what am I going to do for that day? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to work on? And I don't just have one task list. I actually have about 4 lists. It sometimes is 5. I don't always use the 5th column, but there's usually 4 columns. My first column is basically my video. Am I recording? Am I editing? Am I researching? And I pop them in. And I don't just say I'm doing this video. It might be like I go right from 9 to 11 or 2 to 3. This is what I'm going to work on. I'm just going to double check a question that just came in. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Jonathan. Paul has posted and say he's doing a video on that. I don't use ACPT. I prefer to use, I mean, if I was going to use it, it'd either be Jet Engine or it'd be the ACF custom field. I don't use AC, that one there. I don't do that. Just going to check something else that's come through. No, yeah. So when I have my scheduling, I have 4 columns usually. The first one is videos, editing, recording, whatever. The second column will be website. So am I working on a website? Am I sorting out a proposal? Have I got a client meeting? Am I revising something? Am I just, doing something that's to do with websites? It could be mine, it could be a client's, it could be whatever. The third column is then to do with what I call admin. So it's not necessarily WordPress or hosting or video, but it's more to do with admin for the company. So it might be maybe there's invoices, or it might be checking the accounts, or it might be subscriptions, or it might be just sorting out something for the health of the business admin. It could even be social media posts. It could be scheduling for Publer. It could be, carousels, LinkedIn stuff. It could be me devising a new strategy for the next 6 to 12 months. The fourth column is what I call other. And that's the column where I now put down doctor's appointment, renew prescription, got to sort out passport, got to take the car in for a service, got to, I'm running out of ideas now here, do stuff. So what I tend to do is every day I like to know what am I doing, what's in my 4 columns, and every single one of them will have a time associated. 1 hour here, 2 hours there, 3 hours on that, half an hour here. And the 5th column I mentioned, I don't always populate it. That's my running schedule. So in the morning, I'll do 40 minutes in the morning, drop Raheem off at school. I'll get in another half an hour in the morning. So I'll do some work and then I'll have a half an hour run while watching videos or researching something. Do the live chat if I'm doing the live chat. After the live chat, obviously more work. And then before I pick Raheem up, another 30 minutes and then I go and walk and pick him up. Oh, John, I've just realized John's been sat there for ages and I haven't even let you in. Sorry, John, how long were you waiting?
I don't mind, it fitted into my schedule.
Nice one. You get the idea. Sorry about that. I wasn't. I was looking at the camera and I didn't even glance down. Bad of me. But yeah, but I find that being able to, like, in the past, I'd always have one task list, and sometimes your task list just becomes really, really big. But when you start to split it out into subject matter, that's when you kind of go, well, you know what? I've only got one task for the video list, but I've got 5 or 6 things for the website. You know what? Let's focus on the website. The video thing I'll do tomorrow. It's not urgent. And it allows me, I'm very pernickety in that I like to know that right now we're going on a live chat 12 till 1. From 1 till 2:30ish, I will then work on XYZ. From 2:30 to 3, I'll do some research while running. Then I pick Raheem up, get back home for 3:30, and then I'll do XYZ. And I find it really gets me to focus. Do you have any scheduling like strategies, John? Oh, I think have we lost John? Are you still there, John? All right, we've got a bit of interference there with John, but I'm sure it'll clean up in a moment. I'm just going to check some of the comments that are coming in.
Yeah, I was
Go
going
for
to
it. Yeah.
say.
Oh, go on. You can carry on, John. Go on. Carry on. Oh, no. John will be back, I'm sure. Don't forget to smash the like button, everyone. John's back. Go on, John. Try again.
It's funny watching you going off on my end of the screen as well. Schedule depends on an Imran live stream. I'll even time it down to the minute as to where I might be. Apart from that is also updates on the software. When those software updates come out, you've got to be kind of ready to make alterations on websites to do
Yeah.
that. I've been caught out recently by other changes.
I think you're right. And it's like
Yes, Eddie.
you have to really like yeah, I'm wondering if Eddie says, I'm wondering if John lives in a car. And John has confirmed he does do. Is built, he's got a built-in microwave in the glove department. Um so I think that anyone out there that is kind of just says, well, I'll see what happens on the day. And there will be people out there, I bet, watching right now who are probably going to say, I don't have that many things. So I don't need to do a task list. I can just go, right, I'm working on a website today, or I haven't got a website to work on. This is where the scheduling really kicks in. Remember, I said I have another column called other or whatever. That's where I might have ideas as well of stuff I want to work on. Do them. And this schedule isn't just about the business. This is my life schedule. Like I've already mentioned, picking up, take my car for a service, picking up medication, doing XYZ. If you know there's something you need to do, like something I don't talk about a lot is I need to level the floor in the lounge. So the kitchen floor and the extension floor and the hallway are about that much higher than the floor in the lounge. You can't tell because obviously you go from laminate to carpet to vine, and all of that. You can't tell, and you have like what are they called? The bits when you have carpet to laminate meat. I can't remember what the word is now. You can't tell, but I know it, and it bothers me because I want to have laminate
Yeah,
going through all the. Yeah,
Imran, let's be honest, it's flawed you. Yeah, we know.
yeah, and it bothers me because I want to have laminate all the way through all the rooms, but I can't until I level that floor. And it's been on my mind for an age. But the great thing is when you stick it on your schedule, you can't get away from it. You can't say I forgot. It's there. And you know about that. And at some point you're gonna go, I've got a day free here. I've got an hour free. You know what? I'm going to get in touch with installers. I'm going to get in touch with building companies. I'm going to go and get quotes. I'm going to do something about it. So if anyone out there is going threshold, thank you, Andrew, Kate, that's the word. I'm going beam, bar. What is it? What is it? Trim. If
Can I just respond to a comment whilst you're thinking about your next sentence?
Go for it.
SEO Press, yes, yes. You'll also notice that other people have talked about SEO Press, called like Paul. So ground pets, yes, it is something that is well known, has been around a long time, is reliable, etc. So there you go. As a response from one of the comments, whilst we hand back to Imran's floor issue.
No, absolutely. So when you relate, there is a reason I'm saying this. When you then relate that to people that go, well, I'm not getting any clients, or social media, I do the odd post here and there. When you know you've got a day with no web design or nothing major to stress you out or whatever, your time, start use that time. Go and learn, go and watch videos. I mean, believe it or not, every night. So let me tell you the schedule, right? I'm giving away a lot of info here now. Raheem likes me to be in the room before he drops off. So at night when it's time for him to go sleep, he's in his bed and I'll be in the corner of his room on my laptop. And I'm working and I don't talk to him and he just drops off. And once he's dropped off, I leave the room. Do you know what I'm doing when I'm there? I'm either working or I've got YouTube open and I'm literally going, watch later, watch later, watch later, watch later. And I'm not just picking random videos. They will be videos about websites. They will be about SEO. They will be about maybe how to level the floor. Literally, what about heating and underfloor heating? Is that good? What's the pros and cons? So that in the morning when I do my run at 7 o'clock on the treadmill here, I open up YouTube and I'm watching these videos and I'm learning. I might not be talking to someone, but I'm absorbing. And this is where I say that when you've got a lot of free time or time, you go, oh, well, what should I do? Oh, I'm not too busy. There will be something that's bugging you about your business, your clients, social media, something like that. Use that time to just make yourself feel better. Like my flooring, it bothers me. It's been bothering me for about 3, 4 months. I keep going, yeah, it's bothering me. But I feel like when I get to the point where I start to have builders come in and give me quotes and stuff, I know what to ask them. I'm going to be watching out for stuff. I'm actually going to question them about stuff. And that's where I'm going to know, do they really know what they're talking about? I need to get our heating redone. We've got the boiler's great, but I know there are pipes in our house that are still 10 mil. I've got to get it changed. And I don't want someone coming in and going, oh, well, this and all of that. And, you got to think about the environment. I'm going to say, oh, well, I'm going to have a better idea of what I want and how I want it. So in my first 10, whatever, 15 minutes of today's live chat has been almost about sort out your schedule. Don't be afraid to put down stuff that isn't even work related, because there will come points when you've got free time. Address those problems, address the things that you've always put off, because you kind of were like, well, do I, is it really a problem? Should I really tackle it? Because believe me, you don't want to leave things dragging. Do you ever let things drag on, John? In fact, John, are your floors perfectly level? Is your car perfectly level? We might be losing John there, but John will come back in, I'm sure. John will come
No.
back in.
The answer to the question is space-wise, office-wise, yes, because I just like everything the way it is. My caravan is not level at the moment, and that annoys me. I've got to sort that out. I'm currently in Sheffield near a load of hills, so that's not on the level. Do I talk to my customers on the level? Yeah, that's the answer to the question. As
Nice
long as
one.
I'm on the level with the customers, that's all the key things. If I'm on level with the family, that's equally important. And I can even be on the level with Imran at times.
You can indeed, and we totally respect that. John's not shy of letting me know what he thinks, and it's always good. Kate has said, funny thing, Kate, that's what fits in my other columns. When I said I have video, website, other, the other is literally anything. It can be literally any, admin as well, which is more business related, but other is like it's just anything and everything. And it allows me, like right now, okay, we're on a live chat, John's in his car, I'm at home. After the live chat, I can either jump straight into work, or I can go, well, you know what, it says here, contact the bank because my mortgage renews in February 2024. Maybe I should look into like a down payment, or whatever. So I'll contact the bank and do that. I'll get it out the way because I know about it. But you're absolutely right. Household chores, all of this kind of thing. If you, it's one of those things that I really started to understand a whole lot more about 3 years ago, whereby I was so work focused because I was transitioning from the NHS to go, no, I'm going to put everything into the web design business now because it's going really, really well. We're getting loads of clients and customers. I would rather put my time into this. And what I found, oh, John, here we go. John's back. So making that transition about 3 years ago, because I got so, I don't want to say tunnel vision, but I became so focused that when there was stuff I knew I had to sort out in the home, it was like that, because my entire task list was just about the business, about the web design, about the clients. So I'm going to stop talking about it now in a moment, but don't ignore the life tasks, the stuff you need to be doing with your kids, with your family. Christmas time is coming up, and you know what? We've got Mark entered the building. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. I just hear you talking about scheduling time. I just wanted to remind everybody that Imran has clones. So he can get far more done than the rest of us. For us mere mortals, don't forget to add time for your hobbies, your interests, things that aren't work related. They aren't phoning the bank. They aren't sorting out the thresholds in your house or wondering about your plumbing. But there are watching Netflix or playing video games or going to the pub.
Do you know something? That is something. Oh, John will be back. We'll leave that in the middle because it is, he will reappear at any
So
point.
it's John's placeholder.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the most accurate mid-journey placeholder that could be created for him. Based on his face, it said, "Here you go." Um, I will admit that up to about a year ago, I was so focused on work and business and stuff like that, and YouTube and all of that, that I was neglecting family time a lot, massively. My hobbies, writing, so much stuff was just like
Yeah, we need a new
parked off.
book.
Do you know something? I've got 3 books that I think if I just went through them one more time and edited them, to final proofread, I
Mhm.
could get them out. And my trouble is getting the time to do that. And I really want to get into it. But about a year ago, so what I now do is when I pick Raheem up from school and we get back, my wife then gets home roughly then. He'll have his tea and I'll come in and do another like hour, an hour and a half of work. And then 5 p.m. now, that's it. I cut off. So from 5 to 9 is family time now. So I get that 4 hours in, and the bulk of it actually is Netflix. The bulk of it is. And I will mention, though, if anyone's watched that show Bodies on Netflix, it's actually quite good. There are some flaws in it. It's about time travel. It's not a bad show, but it's one of the highlights of watching TV shows with family. And there's a couple of shows I really like that Raheem likes as well, surprisingly. Like,
You're going to say Gen V now, aren't you?
no, yes. Oh, do you know what? When me and my wife watched that, she goes, "Put the volume down. There's an F word in every sentence." I'm like, "Flipping heck, man! Raheem's right over there. He's playing on his computer game. Get over it." She's like, "No, look." And then she sometimes, and this annoys me. She literally goes like this: 1, 2. She sits there counting F words, and she is right. In nearly every sentence, there is an F word.
Yeah.
Sometimes 5 or 6. It is very expletive driven. But I think I sometimes say to her, that's life. I mean, most of us probably use that many. I'm just gonna check some of the content, not content, some of the comments because there's quite a few have flooded in. John Cyanidis says, "Do you know if it's possible to increase or decrease from a quick?" Yes, so they have locked it. I would say them locking it at 756 is not a bad thing, in my opinion, because you don't need that many. Can you increase it? You're going to have a conversation with SiteGround. I'm glad that they have made the minimum at 756 because I feel like that's pretty cool with an Elementor website or most websites. You can get away with 256. I know Elementor say 512. You can get away with it if your website's very, very light and you ensure you get rid of your transients, your drafts, and all of that, and you keep on top of that. You can get away with it. But if SiteGround give you 756, John, I would take it because there's so many hosts out there that lock you down to 256, like Kinsta, right? And they don't even tell you about that, which is an absolute problem. Just going to quickly scroll down the comments. Cool. Yeah. So 5 to 9 is my time now with the family, but that's about as far as I go with my hobbies, like writing. I used to make a lot of music as well about 20,
Now we want you,
23 years ago.
you and Paul C in a band. That's what we
No,
want now.
to be honest though, when I say I used to make music, you're all gonna laugh at this, okay? You are gonna laugh, and some of you might not even know what I'm talking about. I can't play an instrument to save my life, right? I cannot. I can do a bit of drums, but very basic. And keyboard, well, that was when you were like at school and you did Ode to Joy. Dun 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 dun. That you kind of thought you were a keyboard player, but that was about it. But I used to you might know this, Mark. So about 1998,
Mhm.
a bit of software came out called DJ. Not DJ, EJ Music Player, and it was for the PC basically. And you had loads of samples, and you could literally make like songs And I got every version of EJ from EJ1 to EJ6 every year they did it. And they even had like a hip hop version, a Ibiza version, a Latina version. I got all of them. And I used to make a lot of music on that. And so I really enjoy that. There was something nice about stitching together synthesizer music and beats and stuff and creating your own lo-fi music back then. And I then created a CD. This is no lie, everyone, right? In 2001, I created a CD, and there were loads of people buying them off me. It was an amazing time to be a young little crap head. But yeah, that was a
So
long time ago.
now you need to put this on Spotify so we can all enjoy it.
The trouble is, though, I don't have any copies. I haven't got any copy. I've got no copy CDs. I haven't got the software anymore because the company actually went bust in, I think it was 2006. And they brought out a version about 3 years ago, but it's nothing like what they used to do. It's now very like restrictive in what you can do, so I don't like it. Just going to check some. Yeah, there you go. Phil says, I remember EJ. There you go, EJ. So if anyone wants to look up EJ, it was damn good. Well, I think it was good. You were never going to get to number one. It was a little bit like. Do you remember Daniel Bedingfield in I think it was 2001 when he did his track, and there were loads of people who like made music in their bedrooms, and then they would release a song. And you found out that they literally created the song and the vogue, everything in their bedroom using computer kit. It was basically like that. And at one point, I did think, "Wow, do you think I'll ever get onto Top of the Pops?" But no, that was a very long time ago. Do you do
Top
any
of the
music?
Pops? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't talk about Top of the Pops now, obviously, because of the baggage that comes with it. But
yeah. The first thing that went through my mind was
do you know what I mean? It's almost like, you know. Do you do any music?
Me?
Yeah.
No, don't be soft. No, I
Really?
listen to. I'm talentless.
Do you know something? I'm really out of touch with music. So up until about, say, 4 years ago, the only time I ever listened to music really, like what's in the charts. So I listen to a lot of like trance or instrumental music. I don't mind that playing in the background. But what was in the charts was I'd only ever really hear about it when I was in the car driving to work and back and stuff.
Yeah.
I think in the last 3 years since the lockdown, and again, this is going to sound really sad, everyone. Hey, Eden, how are you? Eden Liu, by the way, is from Reincubate Camo. She's the expert on Reincubate Camo. So, but last 3 years, I now listen more to like stuff like LBC radio. And I don't even know why I listen, because half the time I get angry at the people that call in with their views, and I'm like, "Oh, shut up! You know, you've read that on Facebook or YouTube. You don't even know what you're talking about, or you're misrepresenting." But I'm out of touch with pop music. My wife always says to me, "Oh, did you hear that new song by da da da?" I go, "Who's that?" Forget the song. Who are you talking about? Because you really want to listen to, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. To be fair, if it's if it's after 2000.
Lockdown period.
No,
Same.
2000, not 2020.
Oh, 2000. Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I listen to Radio 2 in the car. So it's a bit of a mixture, but mostly it's older stuff, isn't it? And then I don't listen to music when I'm in the office, but if I'm working at home at the weekends, I'll put an old Spotify playlist on, like now 1986 or something like that, and
80s was great.
I'm young again.
I love 80s music. In fact, I was going to say something in that. Oh, it's gone from my head now, but it was about the music. But yeah, I'm really out of touch with it. In fact, sometimes if I was going on a long journey, like I was driving down to London, I'd actually put classical FM on. And a lot of people sometimes laugh at me when I say that, and I usually say to them, a lot of music in movies when there's a really like action scene or like like there's like like a fantasy scene or sci-fi. Most of the time it's almost like classical music a little bit reinvented. Like Hans Zimmer is like classical music with a bit of more of a beat.
John Williams.
Yeah, John, exactly. And like I love instrumental music. One of my favorite playlists is I go to YouTube, obviously. I type in epic music. I make sure the video playlist is over 20 minutes, and there's loads of them that are 2, 3, 4 hours long, and it's like either fantasy or action or whatever. And the melodies you hear with no words, by the way, and it's just playing. It always feels like you're transported somewhere.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I was sometime in the 90s. I was reading. It was the Belgariad by David Eddings, and at the same time, I think I played a lot of. You heard of Clanad?
no, no.
Okay.
What's
You
that?
would have. They're a band. You'd have heard some of their music, I expect. But there was an album called Bamba, and I used to listen to that quite a lot at the same time. And so those sort of that fantasy setting and that music genre are completely melded into one in my head now.
Yeah. Well, it brings
But
back.
interestingly, George says I become non-functional without music. I end up usually starting with music and then getting so annoyed, just too much noise. I
Do you know what?
can't think now.
I would agree with you on that. So I sometimes like it's a bit like in the old days when I used to sometimes work where I haven't got my exercise bike anymore, but I'd have like my tray on there and I'd be typing. I'd like to listen to music. Now I feel a little bit like sometimes you get so caught in the moment, I feel myself slowing down in my work because you're almost visualizing the music like, oh, that would work really well flying through the mountains of a valley or something, or yeah, that would go with like a really old dingy town and we've now walked into a brothel or something dodgy. I bet you did. No one's expecting
Okay.
no, I'm joking there, but comment over here by Chukti is Sarah Finite any good? So Sarah Finite Accelerator came out about 2 years ago. I did a review on it. At the time, I thought it was really good. Now I don't like it for two big reasons. Number one, you got to pay a premium. It only works for so many visits, and then you got to pay a premium. And I think that's boulder dash. Okay. If you've got something that optimizes your website and then after 5,000 visits, it drops the performance, what the heck's that all about? That's a bit of a con, in my opinion. Like, what, all of a sudden you cap it? Number two, um, if you don't pay for it and you're using the free version because you're not going to have more than 5,000 visits a month, for whatever reason, at the bottom of your website, it puts a footer in, a hard coded footer in, saying this website is powered by Sarah Finite Accelerator. Give me a break. You didn't build the website. The website probably sits on a SiteGround server. This website is powered by Sarah Finite Accelerator. Again, another dodgy con, like a watermark. And there is a way to get rid of it. And I'll tell you how you get rid of it. You make sure you've got an elemental footer as a footer template. You put -80 bottom margin, and that gets rid of their little watermark. but but it's just one of these things where, like, I feel like, so what that plugin does, you could do with what I tell you to do in the Page Speed 2023 video. So why are you going to use a plugin, pay something like $5 to $10 a month for what you could do for free? And the steps I tell you take up like 20 minutes of your life, kind of thing. So Sarah Finite is great if you don't want to spend 20 minutes of your life doing a bit of work. But then I could always say, I don't want to say lost cause, but if you'd rather, like, if you go, I ain't got 20 minutes, that's probably going to be the same as someone who never puts WebP images. Everything's a PNG. I'm not going to custom load my font. I'm not going to get Elemental Pro. I'm going to get Elemental Free, and I'm going to get 20 Elemental add-ons. Boom, 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 boom. Just shove them all on.
I
And
will
then when
guilty
my
on one of those things, surely.
yeah, and then when my website is um like 20% page speed score, it's Elemental's fault. It's not my fault, kind of thing. And believe me, Elemental is bloated. We know that. Okay, Bricks, they they gave a bit of a preview over their component model yesterday, and I have to say it's really really clever. It's not the complete article because I have questions about it, and I feel like the video didn't answer it. So it's basically if you've got if you go and if you drag in a block and then you go and drag in say an image and a headline and like some text, you set it up to look and work a certain way with animations and all of that, you can save it as a component. So you might call it call to action.
Okay, so that's very. I mean, there's I think by the guy who did Oxyprops called Struct Easy that does
Yeah,
something very similar. Mind you, he's
it's
disappeared off the
basically
face of the planet.
similar to that.
Hmm.
So basically, you could create your own component, and then that component is now available for you to reuse. The only thing that was not very clear, though, is that when Thomas did that, he created 3 cards, and
Hmm.
he created a component, and in that component, he put in an image, and then that image repeated for all 3 cards. What he didn't show, he said it, but he didn't show it, and that's where I kind of go, you didn't show it. If it's true, why didn't you show it? All of them had the same image. And my impression is that when you create it with that image, it will repeat. What you can't do is go in and modify the image. Now,
But why?
I would assume you can do
The use case
dynamically.
for repeating cards. Why would you do that when you can just do it with a loop grid? So,
Now, Mark, you are saying exactly the same thoughts I had at 7:22 when I was sweating out my belly button on that treadmill. Believe me, I can feel the sweat in my belly button at the time. It's not great and it's not nice and it's gross. And it happens when you run on a treadmill at that early morning. But that's exactly what I thought. I looked at it and I was like, if I was going to do something like that, I would just create a loop grid. Or I would, like a custom post type. In fact, a lot of people on the Elemental Facebook group, they go, "Oh, I want to have something with a mixture of videos and images," and I'm like, "Loop grid." Oh, I want to do da 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 da. I'm like, "Yeah, just do loop grid." Too many people, when they think of loop grid, they think blog post, and they miss the fact that create a custom post type called media, whatever you want. Stick in your items, whatever you're gonna have. It's like yesterday, someone said they want to have blog post, but then every now and again they want to have an image. So it's not a blog post, it's just an image. And I was like, well, yeah, stick it in to, set it up to be your featured image. Just don't make sure you've got no content in there. And if you're very clever with how you build it, you can have blog post, blog post, blog post, image. And it's all part.
Dave and Web Dev has made a comment.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, now you see, Dave, this is how I interpreted it. And I was trying to get and this is where I was wondering though, is that because for me, I see this as a shortcoming. Now, some people I think will disagree with me on this because I feel like if you were going to have like 3 cards, do you want the same image? And this is the issue. And for me, it's a case of like, would you? So let's say each of those was a service. You can have a different service name and a different service description. That's pretty easy. But then what if you wanted a different image? And I feel like I'm looking forward to playing with it when it actually comes out. And I don't know if I was thinking too hard about it at the time, but it felt like, would you really want the same image? Or maybe I am rethinking it. Oh, Carapos says he did change the image on the sneak peek. Did I miss that? Was that right at the end? I do admit to not watching it all the way to the end. I cut off about 2-3 minutes ago. Was that right at the end? Right, just going to go back up over here. No, sorry, just missed a comment. What are you working on today, Mark?
Snags, little things, multiple projects, just bits and pieces.
I want to confirm he said snags. in case
Why?
anyone
What
misheard.
did it sound like?
No, it sounded like snags, but just in case anyone heard you say something else, I'll
Yeah.
let you
So
rearrange it later.
I'm just going to say it again. Jumping between products, just
Good one.
troubleshooting issues here and there. Not very exciting, but it feels good when you have a day like that because you're clearing a lot off your lists. Going back to and yeah.
Yeah, no,
Sometimes though, because when you're in a bigger thing, you can just go down that rabbit hole, come up however many hours later, and go, I still didn't solve the problem or
yeah,
finish it. So
no, and I my wife hates this, by the way, is that sometimes um she'll be like, oh, should we watch XYZ or should we do this? And I'm like, I can't. I've just checked my email and there's something I need to sort out. And when I know there's a snag,
hmm,
I sometimes feel like I just can't go to bed. I would rather get it done, mainly because I want to make sure the customer's okay. I don't want them to get any grief about it. But also, if I know that snag affects the live website or it affects some functionality or a feature, I'm very mindful that this could affect conversions for the client. And you know what? Word of mouth referrals. At the same time, though, don't bust a gut for a client if you know you're not going to get compensated for it. But if you know that something has glitched somewhere and you can go and fix it in 5 or 10 minutes, I'd rather do that and sleep easy than, you kind of go, it kind of bugs you away, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually is an interesting thing. So, um, I how do I put this without making somebody sound really rubbish? Yeah. So if you've built a site and X amount of time later, somebody noticed something you did originally doesn't work quite right. So it's not a change, it's a fix. It is a fix. Would you charge them to go in and fix something, knowing deep down that it was your fault in the first place?
No,
No, neither would I.
no.
I had a run-in recently where it wasn't a site I worked on. I wasn't the developer for it, but I used the site for somebody else, and I said to the developer, "Oh, this didn't work when it normally does." And he goes, "Well, to even look at it, I'm going to charge an hour, but not even to sort of assess the situation." And I was a bit like, "Mm, no, no, then we'll live with that. Thank you very much."
Right, I'm gonna kind of chip into what you said as well. But Ground Pets, is this the question? And sorry, Ground Pets. Sometimes when we're chatting away, questions come in. It's sometimes because it, they move up quite rapidly, so you don't always see them. So just double check. Is that the question you're asking? And when you say, "Is that you at the end?" Is that you at end your videos on your videos? I'm not sure if you mean, is that me at the end of the videos? I'm not sure. But
Is there music that you created? Is that could it be that?
oh, no. That's not my music at the end. That's music by a band called Nefex. And I got that on YouTube. That I got that music from YouTube Studio Music Library. Mainly because if you use any music that's not your own, you then got to go and make sure you're authorized to use that. Otherwise, you get hit by a copyright, or you got to pay someone like Epidemic Studios, whatever, subscription to use their music. Now, back onto what Mark was saying. If a client comes to me like they want to tweak or something, if I know I can do it in a minute or two, I might just let it go and do it. If it's something where I know it's going to take a bit of time or a bit of thinking, I let them know, yeah, we can do that and there's a charge for it. Like they now want their blog post change or they now want to add in a donation form. I go, yeah, there's a charge. Otherwise, there's a danger that every time you do things that might take up half an hour or an hour of your life, they kind of know maybe in a way that it's taking you that long in some way. They may keep asking you again and again and again, and you've now made a precedence for when do you now say,
Hmm.
sorry, got to charge. However, if they come back and they go, oh, that's not working, and I look at it and I now suspect it's something I've done, or I just want to double check, I won't charge for that. But if I do go in and I can now see you did that, like
Oh
there
yeah.
was a client, um, they were like, they said So one of the things I do like to put on websites, if you've got a client and they're going to have access to it, like they've got admin rights, I like to stick activity login
Yeah.
so that I can see if they've done anything. And there was one person, and their loop grid wasn't working right. And they were like, "Oh, Imran, you need to sort this out." And I was like, "It was working 3 weeks ago, and I know it was working the week before. Have you changed anything?" No, 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 no. I've not touched it. I logged in, activity log. They'd made there was another new admin user. I don't know who they were. They had gone in and touched something, and I was like, "They did that." They were like, "Oh yeah, but could you fix it?" I went, "Not really, because I feel like I don't fully understand. If you want me to fix it, there's a charge for that." And it was almost like me saying, "Look, if you want to create multiple admin users or administrators to do that, that's fine. But then you need to hold them to account." And basically, it was his brother who had gone in and done that. And I was like, he goes, "Oh, but I don't want to make my brother upset." I'm like, so if anyone here, I mean, there are many ways to do this, but Activity Log is a free plugin. It basically tells you who is logged in when, what did they touch? Did they touch a page? Did they install a plugin? Do you ever use, or do you have any recommendations for any activity logging or stuff like that, or any other method?
Yeah, don't let your clients have access.
Do you know,
And strangely, and I've said this before, and everybody gives me funny looks. It's like less than 5% of my clients even want it. Obviously, WooCommerce store owners get access, but
yeah.
most of them, my clients, it works fine. Thank you very much. Good. As long as they get their inquiry forms or whatever the end result they're looking for is, they are happy.
I'll tell you the worst ones though are when the client, they work with an SEO company. And by the way, I'm not saying there's anything wrong
I
with an
dread
SEO
that
company.
email.
And what they do is they will give someone access without letting you know.
Yeah,
And then that person goes in and sticks a Facebook pixel somewhere, goes and
yeah.
puts a Google Tag Manager code somewhere, even though you've already got Rankmath on there, goes and adds in some other stuff, and then something breaks. And then the client comes back to you
No,
and they go, "Well, the SEO person said I need to go back to who built the website." And I always go, "I've got a backup of your website to the point before when it was working. We can roll back now, and you can get your SEO person to do everything again. Now they are aware of the problems, because you can't keep blaming." It's like someone coming in, changing the window in your house or your room, and then they go, "You got to go back to who built the house." And you kind of go, "The house was built 40, 50 years ago." "No, no, 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 it's
oh,
not our
it's the same.
measurements."
It's just, yeah, you're right, in the tradesman. So that the next tradesman along will always blame the one before for a problem that they've come across. So the poor
Yeah.
old tiler in your bathroom he's blaming the plasterer, the plumber, and the electrician. The other thing you'll often find is, "Oh, you need to speak to your web developer. They've built it using Elementor. That's terrible for SEO."
Oh, I've had that.
Oh,
I've
well,
I've
yeah.
had that. I've had that, and then I go to them. "So what would they recommend?" And I normally either get a weird answer like, "Oh, they should have done it in oh, they should have used." And by the way, George, if you're
Joomla.
listening to this, don't get upset. They might say something like Divi, or they might have said you shouldn't have used WordPress at all, or you should have used Wix. When someone says to me you shouldn't have used WordPress, you should have gone to Wix, I lose all respect for the person who's saying that. And I kind of go, right, okay. But yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say in that scenario?
What you should have used.
Well, yeah, when someone says to you, you shouldn't have used Elementor, or you shouldn't have used, I mean, do they ever give you an alternative?
Yeah. What would I say now as well? Because what I've said in the past and what I'd say now are probably different. What would I say now? Oftentimes, you shouldn't have used WordPress. It's very easy to find a list of huge sites that use WordPress and go, well, look,
Yeah.
you know,
NASA.
yeah. Then you can give them examples of sites that you've built using your stack that are performing really, really well. Um, um, I mean, there's no point sort of saying I know best, blah blah blah. Just show them evidence usually. But once people have got an idea in their head, I kind of Yeah, all right, whatever.
Well, I think this goes back to something I've said many, 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 many times, in that there is a little bit of a psychological discrimination. I think I'm trying to get my words right, but I think there's a bit of discrimination against web designers. So if you look at people that are involved in digital marketing, and web designers fits into that, web developers, for some reason, and I have found this and I've seen it, and when working with clients, you can tell when you're speaking to them. Anyone who is an SEO expert or a digital marketer, they hold them in a higher regard than they do the web designer. They almost feel like the web designers just create the web design, but it's the SEO expert. They know more. And if they say that your website don't look good, or your website's not right, or you shouldn't use WordPress or Elementor, they will take that as gospel. And we had a client and they were paying us to build a website. And then they were paying a big chunk as well to an SEO expert. And I said, can you just share the website for them? And they did. And you could clearly tell this person, I mean, their website was horrendous. They didn't have any credentials. When I love to dig a bit deeper, so you go and check them out on LinkedIn and you go and check out their Facebook, and you can clearly tell they're winging it. They're just saying the obvious. Yep, do that, do this, do that. But their SEO expert has said to them, make sure that your web designer who builds the website does not do any keywords, does not do any optimization. We'll handle all of that. And I was like, but what exactly are they going to do for you? Oh, they're going to do all our keywords. And I was like, right, so how are they going to do your keywords? Are they using Rankmath? Oh, I don't know what they're using. And I'm sat there thinking, so we're going to build your website, but the client didn't even know what their keywords were. So I said to the client, you want me to build your website, do all your wording, do all your images, do your alt text, all of that, before we know what your keywords are. Is this SEO expert going to then tinker with the website? No, they don't touch the website. So I was like, so you're not going to get your keywords smuggled into your H1, your H2, or your body text. It won't be in your alt image. What exactly are you doing? They then went back to the SEO expert, and the SEO expert was like, oh, you don't need to worry about that. That's old school. And I was saying, how much are you paying them? They were going to pay $2,000 for this person to do some SEO boost. And I went, what are they really going to do? And here we now get down to the crux of what they were going to do, right? When the website is built, they were going to do Google ads, sponsored ads. That was the gist of the $2,000 you're paying just to get them on page one. Woohoo! But because they're an SEO expert,
it'll work.
It would get them on page one. Let's not lie here. It would get them on.
It will get them fast results.
It will, but long term, is it going to work out? Now, JJ says, what is a good translate plugin to use with Rankmath? I'm not sure about the Rankmath bit, because Rankmath is obviously going to be dictated by whatever translation language setting you've done in WordPress, because the front end user, the visitor, is not going to see Rankmath. That's down to you and how you build a website. So a good translate plugin to use with Rankmath, I'm not sure about that, because that's more the setup side, unless I'm misinterpreting. Dave, exactly. Well, Dave, the thing is, I knew the content, right? I knew the content. And one of the questions I always ask the client at the point of the discovery call, or when we're devising the website and how we might go about doing it, I say to them, what are your keywords? Who are your main competitors? And then you can go and pull up their website and you can see what their keywords and get a gist of that. But this client was literally adamant. No, they will do the keywords after. They will decide the keywords after the website's built, because then they now know what they need to promote. And I was like,
I think by keywords they meant search terms, didn't they, for Google ads, and that was about it.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah. And they wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have it. And one thing I'll always say is, if I've got a client that's very what's the word, abrupt and arrogant and ignorant, and they talk down to you, I don't want to work with them. If, however, the client is on your level, you can talk to them, but they don't agree with you, and you've clarified as much as you can, but they don't agree with you, as long as you've got it in writing or an email somewhere that, you know, you would advise them they do X, but you're going to respect their decision and not do that in case they ever come back on you, and you clarify why they should do it. Don't just say you should do Rankmath, explain the benefits of it and whatever. And they don't want to do it, I'm okay with that. You know, there's a difference between ignorant and no, you know, it's a bit like there will be people who are going to say, you know, if you're going to cook beef lasagna, you must do it this way. And there'll be someone else that says, no, I'm going to do it X way. And as long as they believe in the way they want to do it, and you've explained why you think you've got a better way, if they don't want to do it that way, fine. It's like web design, right? You don't have to use Elementor. You don't have to use bricks. You don't have to use breakdance. You don't have to use Gutenberg, Wix, Squarespace. We could go on and on and on and on. As long as you believe in it. And this is something that still winds me up every day. And I don't mean to jump on anyone who's watching or listening right now, because it happens in our Web Squadron Facebook group. Too many people will post, and I don't just mean Elementor, they do it for others as well, but Elementor mainly. I hate using Elementor. I don't ever want to use Elementor again. I don't want to use WordPress. And I sometimes feel like pulling them in and reining them in and going, I don't care. You don't need to tell me what you hate, right? Just use what you want to use. I don't walk outside and say, I hate Vauxhall Corsas. Because I don't. My dad's driven a Vauxhall Corsa since they first came out in 1996. He's always upgraded, and I keep telling him, Dad, make a switch. But I don't put out on Facebook or wherever, I hate Vauxhall Corsa. I will never drive one. No one needs to know that. That's your personal belief or your reasoning. It's a bit like, Mark, tell me something you really, really hate. Don't say Imran. Tell me something. Tell me something you really, really hate.
No, I'm on the spot because it's a long list.
Oh, wow. Reel off the list. Reel it off. Come on.
Something I really, really. But why would I want to? I get your point, and your point is based on your point. No, it's like, why would I bother sharing?
Exactly. And do you know what? I think you just gave the perfect answer. You just gave the perfect answer. If there is, like, now and again. Like,
I'll tell you what I do hate: Brevo going down all the time.
What's it down to at the moment?
As in Brevo, the mail service. They have done a rough run, and I have posted.
I thought you were talking about stocks and shares then. No, right, yeah, well.
And I have posted a bit about that because it's really frustrating when you use them for transactional email.
Right, I want to put a request out to everyone. Right now, I want you to fill the comments up with what you hate. Tell us right now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to put down something you hate. Put it down, just put it down. So this kind of like is like, what was I even talking about? So if you, now and again, you might watch a movie and you might go, I really didn't like that movie. And if it's about now, right now, a current theme or a trend, you can get away with that because people will either like or dislike what you say. But I would say that there's no point people coming onto any Facebook group or anywhere and saying, I hate X. Because what you're basically saying then in an indirect way is that anyone who does like that is wrong. And I'm now going to get really political here. And I don't like to get political. And I'm not going to tell you what I like or dislike or how I swing on the political arguments because it always changes. In 2019, right before we had the general election with Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn basically at the time, the big topic was Brexit. And everyone's going to have a different opinion of that. And, you know, no one is right. No one is wrong. Everyone's allowed to think what they want. We had an open plan office and there must have been about 12 to 15 people in there, working. And a lady in the room stood up and she said it in a really aggressive, loud way. Anyone who supports Brexit is an idiot.
I thought you were going to go worse than that. I thought you were going to go racist.
No.
I saw this one coming.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Is that when people make comments like that, and this also relates to Elementor, to WordPress, loads of things, people make a really passionate argument of why they hate something. You're indirectly basically saying that if you support Brexit, you're an idiot. And the reason I bring this argument up is because I know there were about 5 people in that room who supported it. I'm not look again, what I'm saying here is what party you support, what views you have, everyone is allowed to have that. That's human nature.
Yeah.
And I remember glancing and I could literally see the look on their faces where they felt they squirmed because they could either stand up and get into a full-blown argument, which wouldn't be great for the work atmosphere. But it's almost like, so sometimes when I see someone go on, Elemental is this, Elemental is that, I get a little bit like, what you're basically saying then is people who do like it don't either share your view or don't understand. And we see this all the time, and it's not just, and by the way, I keep using Elemental as an example. It's not just Elemental, right? So I would say, I don't even know why we even got onto this topic. I don't even know how we even got onto this.
No.
We've kind of
Well,
somehow
just quickly, somebody asked what I would recommend over Brevo. I'm testing Postmark, which I quite like, but there are loads of others. There's SendGrid, Mailgun, there's Mandrill if you've got all the money in the world. So there are other options, and a lot of them do a limited number of emails per month, so you can test and see how you get on. I think that was, I can't remember who that was who asked.
No, do you
maybe.
know what?
Yeah, I mean, things like that, opinions, you know what they're like.
Yeah. Right.
If it comes to politics and voting and Brexit or Elementor, it's like, as long as your reasons are justified and they're your reasons, you're not wrong. Well, you might be wrong, but if we vote in this country politics-wise, and we vote strangely anyway, we seem to think it's all about the Prime Minister or the Leader of the Opposition rather than our local MP or indeed our local MP, because they represent us and what we in our town are meant, it's all a bit messed up.
Do you know something? Again, I don't want to get political on it. I'm going to try and make sure I'm not going to get political on it, but every time you can't get away from it whenever there's election time. And what happens is someone always says to me, I'm going to vote Tory, I'm going to vote Labour, I'm going to vote Liberal, I'm going to vote Green. My question back to them is why? And they can never answer it.
But if they've got an answer,
exactly,
and it's right for them, and it might be completely wrong for you, but that's why you get a vote.
That is exactly how I take it. I always often say, "Oh, that's quite interesting. I didn't think of it like that." If they have a reason, 9 times out of 10, they won't have a clue about the policy. And I sort of go, "So you're basically doing tribal voting. You're just gonna, if your family have always voted to eat butter." And all of a sudden you had a vote to eat margarine, you will always eat butter. You won't often try and consider the pros and cons, whatever. And I'm one of those people where I can't stand tribal politics. I feel like, look, I love Elemental. I like Bricks as well. I love WordPress. If in next year something came out which was 10 times better than WordPress, and I literally mean this, in terms of everything it did, and it had plugin solutions and all of that, I would switch. What I wouldn't do is say, nope, WordPress, that's it. Nope, I won't ever consider anything else. Nope. So I always feel like if the reasons resonate with you, it's like food, isn't it? Right? There will be certain food you've always eaten, but the minute you taste something better or something different or something cheaper, or a new takeaway place opens up and you try it and you go, you know what? I'm going to go there now. It's because it reached into you, it tingled your belly button. Now,
but this is it. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind.
Exactly.
And you don't have to stick to just one thing forever and ever and ever.
Exactly. It's like Bricks. You use Bricks.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I
Or
play with bricks. I would not build a production
no,
site on bricks, nor am I about to
no,
anytime soon.
no,
Sorry.
and it,
But there's nothing wrong with bricks. There's a lot of good in bricks. But for now, I'm not. There's a lot I don't like about it.
it's a bit like so there was someone who told me they were going to jump between bricks, breakdowns, and elemental, and I was a bit like, that's quite a lot of jumping. But it was like they thought they could make it work, and it was like, yeah,
Okay.
if you can make it work, do it. If you know there are certain clients or customers that fit that, it's like WooCommerce. You got WooCommerce, and now we have Shortcut. Shortcut's not completely polished yet, but maybe for some clients you jump to that. What I tend to see is there's a lot of Shortcut people that hate WooCommerce, and there's a lot of WooCommerce people that hate Shortcut, and I'm like, but they suit different outcomes. So if the outcome fits, Jet Engine, do you use Jet Engine? Do you use Advanced Custom Field? Well, think about your audience or what you're trying to achieve and make it work with you. Now, Love Your Life question I popped up in. It's been up here for ages now.
Wait, isn't Shortcut a hosted solution?
No, it's a plugin.
I'm looking at their plans, and they've got like 500 megabyte file storage, and then 2 gigabyte file storage.
If I'm honest, I feel like it's getting quite complexicated with the whole Shortcut. I feel like it started off really basic.
We store the files on our servers. What's this? Yeah, that's a hard pass from me. Thank you very much.
Right, I'm just going to answer Love Your Life's question. He goes, at the beginning of the project, client agrees to provide images. Midway, they say you complete. Well, if they now want you to now complete the website, you charge them for you getting the images. If they say now they want you to teach them, you charge them for the teaching time. Plain and simple. 1 hour video call. It's consultation time. You don't just go, yeah, okay. You bring them back to the contract of what you had in your agreement.
I've just getting content off clients. I've just come to the conclusion I'm never going to get it. I had a classic email. It was last week. We're doing 3 sites for one client. They're all following the same broad template. They're for care homes. The first one we've done. It's actually the home my mum's in, so that was really easy. I knew the manager, could talk to her about the content, what we needed, but I knew enough about the home as well to write it. We then got an email of the guy we're doing it for saying, I want the other 2 live by the 15th of November.
Okay.
That's fine, I say, providing we get the content. And he said, well, contact the managers of the homes. Here are their email addresses. Sent them an email last week. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I let the client know very early on. I let them know, look, for us to start and do the project, you have to provide your content by X. If you don't, we can't proceed, or we just don't do it. In fact, what I do with my clients all the time now is I literally say, I'm not even taking a deposit off you or anything until I know you've got your content done. So if you know it's going to take you a month, come back to me in a month. I'm not even going to plan for you or I don't want to know about you or anything.
See, now, if I lived where you lived and I know you were doing that, I'd say, oh, don't worry about that. Pay us a deposit. We'll make some content for you to get you started. Be careful.
But what I also then do is I then say to them, because I give them an itemized breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't think you can get it done or whatever, and you want us to go and sort out your content and sort out your keywords and get your images and make sure everything is tickety-boo and ready for the website and the WebP, the minute you say WebP format, you can see them going, what are you talking about? When you say you're going to do all of that for them, but here's the cost for that, 50% of the time they do go for that. So I'm kind of letting them know from the start. But yeah, question by Matt85. What other services could you offer as a freelancer other than just website builds and ongoing maintenance? Obviously, SEO. You could offer them advice about marketing. You could analyze their website with keywords. You could say, let's keep a record of your top 3 or 5 competitors. Let's see what their keywords are and how are they tracking. It could be, you could maybe do blog writing for them. I don't like to get into that. I don't like to be responsible for writing their blogs for them because it's like a pain in the ass, right? And I don't want to be the one doing their Facebook post and their Twitter. But no, you should be focusing on your own social media and all of that, let alone them. But
Not only that,
that's
but
where you could go.
don't do things that suck away your will to live.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, even if somebody offers you great money to manage their AdWords account, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Spend your time doing something else if you can. And don't hosting is another option, but again, don't jump into that unless you're really confident in what you're doing. Hosting.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question. Digital reality, hosting your account, got 100 websites. If one website has a virus, will it infect the rest? I'm going to say no.
It could. Depends how hosting are set up.
And that's where I was going to go with. So I'm glad Mark's chipped. I was going to go, well, I mean.
And Phil answered this question perfectly about Linux users.
Yeah. Check with your host. Go and check with your host. Go and ask them. In fact, don't ask them. They might block you. They might go, right, we've just been someone's going to attack us now with a virus, and they're sounding us out. Kate makes a good point. If the clients don't want to relinquish control of the project, I sometimes wonder if the clients don't want to relinquish. Yeah, I mean, you do have them, but I always kind of go, look, do they just want me to build and then away they go? And they understand that if they muck it up, that's on them. Fine. I don't like micromanagement unless they really know what they're talking about. And it's very rare you have a client who really knows and understands everything behind the scenes and what to do. And also it depends on what they're paying. If they're paying a premium to keep you on a retainer.
Isn't there a very famous meme about clients getting involved with the project and how much you charge depending on how much input they want to give? And it's like, if they're going to send you notes, it's one fee. If they're going to want to sit next to you and do it, there's another. It just goes up and up in price. So the more involved they are, the more expensive it gets, because the more of a hassle it is. My least favorite clients are the ones who want to get heavily involved in design, and there's a definite correlation between the worst looking sites being the ones where clients have
you're right.
involved, where we're given free rein to design what we think will suit their content and what their business is. They're the best sites.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Usually the ones I kind of hate that as well, where the client is almost saying, we want this here and that there and there. And you kind of go, okay, we can get it to do that, but have you considered the mobile? I'll make it work. And you go, no, we need to now think about the mobile and how it's going to work, because it won't work. Or
there's a middle ground that's probably really useful. Like, I want these things on this page with these images and this text, and I'd kind of like it in this order. Great, perfect. Yeah. Real thanks.
George has done some really good answering there about the hosting side of it, and he's right. From a SiteGround issue, from a SiteGround point of view, they do site isolation. It's why I keep liking SiteGround at the end of the day. We have now been live for 1 hour 12 minutes. Remember I mentioned right at the start about scheduling and my lists. I'm now over, and I'm now cutting into my time where I was going to do some other stuff before I jump back on the treadmill and then pick up my son and then do some other little editings for a website. So what I'm now going to do, oh, you little doggy.
Yeah, this is what I'm cutting into. Dog walking time.
That sounds dodgy.
Oh, please. Oh.
Not on the camera, but no, is it him, her?
Her.
And what's that around the neck? I can't, is that a collar?
Harness.
It's a harness. Okay, are you going off for a walk?
Yeah.
In fact, you did often say that on the chat. You'd often say, right, I'm just going off for a walk now.
Yeah.
Do you have one dog?
I do now. It was 2 back then.
Oh, sorry to hear that, mate.
Right.
And how old is the dog?
This one. She's 10.
Oh, bless. Very quiet. We didn't hear her at all. She just
she finds you boring and falls to sleep.
I'm going to play cat sounds now next time we're
on. We've got a cat as well.
Yeah. Oh wow. Do you know what? It's I always love it when I know someone's got a cat and a dog and they just get on well with each other. I love that. it always it's always nice to know there's that kind of almost like an emotional link between them. And I'm sure they fight. I'm sure the cat is more aggressive. People always think the dog's more aggressive, but the cat is probably more aggressive. Like they'll slap the
Yeah.
dog away kind of thing, won't
It
they?
was just yesterday. The cat was sitting on like at the edge, well, I would say the edge of the sofa, and this little one just happened to walk past, and it was just like, as
Yeah.
it went past, just
Yeah. And the
this
dog's
is a
like, what did I do?
17-and-a-half-year-old tomcat, and
Yeah.
oh,
And the dog will be like, "What did I do? I was just walking."
yeah,
It's funny, like you tend to think of it the other way, but it's not. It's totally not the other way.
yeah.
Um, right, Michael just said, "I'm going to end on client wants sliders on mobile."
Mm.
You can do a slider on the mobile. It'll be one slide at a time, but then everything is sometimes squashed up, or I don't
Yeah.
know. It all depends on what
It's
you're
the
showing.
worst is when you've got the slider on desktop, then becomes a really thin sliver at the top
Yeah,
on mobile. It's like, oh, come on, at least redo it so it's sort of 3/4 of the
the
viewable
worst.
screen or something. Yeah.
The worst are when the client gives you a pre-built image and the image has got the text on the image because it's been
Mm.
built somewhere. So you can't even resize it. And you're like, you can't read that on the mobile. Well, I'm fine. And you think you might be fine on it because you know what it says. But I can tell you now, if I hold it there, I cannot read the small print of
Tell
the
you who
word.
can't. I'll tell you who else can't read it. Google.
Yep. Oh, do you know what? That's another one. I'm going to end now in a moment. The funniest are where they've got their keywords on the image,
Mhm.
and you go, Google can't read that. Exactly what you've said there. They won't. They will just have an image. We'll put your
Although that's
keyword.
probably going to change with AI, isn't it?
Well, you're probably right, actually,
Yeah.
because a great example is Canva's magic text tool. So if anyone's
Okay.
not used this, seriously, if you create an image on Midjourney and Midjourney might put some text and you can't even read the text because it's random
Yeah.
characters. Canva, when you add your image, they now have a feature called magic text. When you click that, it pinpoints the text and you can either delete it and it literally gets rid of it and the background is now clear, or 9 times out of 10, it lets you retype in the same format. And even if it's a curved layout, you still get the curved. So if it's on a bottle, you still get
Mm.
the whole curved effect. And I was like,
Clever
this
shit.
is a game changer. So if anyone's not tried it, go to Canva, go to Magic Text, and yeah, feel like you've achieved something today when you do that.
Actually, make a good point. Everybody should factor some time every week for learning new stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, every night I'm go to YouTube, say, right, I'm going to watch dut, 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 dut. It's like Paul or anyone when they have a new video. I might not watch it on the day. I'll add it to my watch later.
Do you go to sleep watching Paul?
No,
Oh, that's
I
right.
add it to my watch. I add it to my watch later, so I watch him first thing in the morning.
What's the first thing you think of every day? Paul Charlton.
No,
Oh.
well, him and other
Hi,
people.
Paul, if you're watching.
Him and other people, but any videos I want to watch, and that's my learning time. But you don't want to know what I do before I fall asleep. I'm like that in bed on my phone.
No. You
Answering
update your
emails,
content on your spicy site, don't you?
answering emails, answering notifications, adding stuff in. It's all good fun, right, everyone? Right, love your life. This is the last one, and then I'm definitely going off. Right, I'm definitely going off. Imagine having 4 images on the hero section on desktop. No, you'd have 1 image on the mobile. So if you got 4 images on, well, okay, look, 4 images on the desktop, not as a slider. I'm
You're
imagining.
talking 4 side by side,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever layout,
Now,
right?
if they're very narrow, you could get away with it on a mobile because sometimes narrow effects can look quite cool. Or when you get to the mobile, if they're now one below one another, most likely I would hide 2 of them, maybe even 3 of them. Because on the mobile now, image, image, image. Do you need it? So the desktop, you can have more, but on the mobile, less is better, right? Because I don't want to be if the images are literally just images with no headline, with no call to action button, what am I scrolling for?
Yeah.
Like I don't need to see a different angle of your face. On the desktop, if it shows different angles, you can get away with it, because it's literally one image. I see it, I scroll, it's gone. Mobile, scroll, scroll, scroll. You know, so but you should know. And here I'm going to be really blunt now. You should know. You shouldn't be asking us because I don't even know what your images are. I don't know what you're showing. I don't know about the tech. I have no idea. And whenever anyone asks this question, and by the way, love your life, I'm not picking on you, but this is a serious point now. If you are going to build websites, you should know the answer. You should be able to say to a client who says to you, I want to have 4 images, you should be able to go, no, you better do this. You should know that because they are trusting you as the expert or the developer to now point them out.
There's somebody on Facebook who's given an opinion that obviously knows far more than any of us.
Oh, really? What's their opinion?
Oh, yeah, quite.
No, you know, so I would say that, you know, oh, well, you know, you're not a professional, mate. You're going to go dog walking in a bit. So, you know, that's all we can say about you.
I know I'm not a professional because I don't use bricks.
No, well, you know, if you're not using a framework, mate, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to challenge myself to create a framework that I'll just give away for free to everyone. And I'll say, look, just use this online tool, create your framework, stick it in your custom CSS and job done. Bob's your uncle or your dog or whatever. But, but yeah, I really feel like today's conversations have gone all over the flipping place. Like we have just gone from left, right, and center. Right, everyone, I'm going to say, carry on with your lives. Go walk the dog. Enjoy the rest of today. Go and buy yourself a bottle of Pepsi Max and down it in one go. You may suffer problems, so don't do that. But hey, look, go and enjoy yourselves, right? And I will be back tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone. Look after yourselves and have fun. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.